All right, folks, and welcome to the official post-event press conference for BKFC 67 here in Denver, Colorado. An incredible night. The Denver fans once again showed up and showed out. A very loud crowd, and of course some incredible highlights, as well as we have a new cruiserweight champion of the world in Chris Camozzi. Of course, we're going to hear from the winners. We're going to hear from some fighters tonight, but right now we want to hear from the president and the founder of the BKFC, Mr. David Feldman.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be back here in Denver. Had a good crowd, 4,600 people. They were very enthusiastic. Some really good fights tonight. Some good knockouts. Some good stars that I think that we're going to be able to groom in the future. I gave a knockout of the night. Obviously, went to the main event, Chris Camozzi, and performance of the night went to Strode. There's also about 4 or 5 other guys on the card that are going to get some bonuses tonight, but I'm not going to mention them now, but I'm going to hit them with bonuses this week. Was happy about the results of tonight. I thought it was like I said, I thought it was a great show. Crowd here loves it. Chris Camozzi looks sensational. I think he just made a big statement tonight in whatever he wants to do at 205, or I heard whispers of him maybe moving up to heavyweight, which would be very interesting. So that's what I have right now.
All right, let's open up for some questions. I have the first one. We saw Chuck Liddell here, legend. What kind of involvement, if any, is he going to have in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship going forward? Chuck Liddell.
Well, Chuck was here with his own brand, actually, coincidentally, called King of Violence. And he was promoting that brand, and we're definitely going to talk about getting Chuck involved a little bit more. I mean, he's an icon in combat sports, and everybody really liked seeing him, enjoyed taking pictures with him. He was great with the crowd, so we're going to see if we can work together more.
You just had back-to-back successful events, one in Marbella, Spain, and obviously tonight. But Spain, you guys had your introduction to DAZN. What does the future look like with them and yourself?
I mean, it was a great beginning for us on DAZN. We actually went up against a boxing match there, and we eclipsed them on the same day, which is phenomenal for us because it was our first time there, and we did unbelievable viewership. Looking to really expand some big things with DAZN. Looking to really expand that partnership in 2025, and hopefully we're going to have a huge announcement with them next week.
All right, let's talk about the big bombshell that you've been talking about, the debut in your hometown where Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships from, Philadelphia. Just speak on that. I mean, what can we expect out of that? And there's a big buzz. It's got to be a big card. It's in the hometown. It's the homecoming.
Yeah, I'm just waiting until next week to get everything signed, and I'm going to be able to announce that card. It's going to be it's going to get a lot of people very interested. A lot of people are going to be very surprised at who we're going to have fighting on that card, and where it's going to air, and it's going to be phenomenal. We're going to have in Philadelphia, our home city. They shunned us for 6 years, and now they're allowing us there. The home of Rocky, and hopefully we have Sylvester Stallone there as well.
This year, you guys have been very active with events. We've got Montana with Kai Stewart defending his belt again. It seems like you guys always got your foot on the gas. What does next year look like for you guys, and your thoughts about Montana?
There's going to be a lot of divorces in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship next year. A lot of wives are going to divorce their husbands that are working for us because we're working every weekend. It's a busy year next year. We're really expanding things next year. It's going to be unbelievable. That Spain show really opened up Europe for us. We got 12 new countries. I said we're going to be in like 6 or 7 countries next year. I think we're going to be in 12 to 15 countries around the world. We opened up another 2 states, which we're going to announce in December, that are very key states for us to really be the final pieces to the puzzle in the United States. So it's going to be an unbelievable, amazing 2025, very tiring, but I think 2025 is where we take a really great position in combat sports.
Well, we're looking forward to see where Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is going to go next. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the president, the founder of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, nice. David Feldman. Another successful event tonight. And you heard David mention the performance of the night, so I'd like to bring the performance of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Strode. What a performance it was against Chancey Wilson. Excited to talk to him. If you have questions, just raise your hand. We'll come talk to you. First question, Mr. Strode. You know, I always like to ask this. You got a performance bonus tonight. You had a great fight. What are you going to do with the money?
What I'm going to do with the money is take care of my daughter and my family. You know, family's everything where I come from, you know what I mean? Team Strode is not just a saying, it's a thing like BKFC, like we're all a family, you know what I mean? That's what Team Strode means.
During your fight, you obviously faced adversity in the beginning, but then you also got slammed in it. At any point, did you feel like that you just wanted to kind of exit the situation and get your hand raised? And what made you kind of push forward?
At first, when I got slammed, I was like, dang, I didn't think this was WWE or WWF, but when I did get slammed, I didn't want to quit, you know what I mean? Like, quitter's not in my blood. I'm always here to come and fight, no matter if I have one arm, you know what I mean, one leg, I'm still be fighting.
So you're obviously, after tonight we saw it, setting the world on fire here with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. You're moving up, up, up. What made you want to come to Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship? It's not a normal vocation, not a normal career for most. Why did you come to BKFC? What are your goals here?
My goal straight up is to be world champ and to be one of the greatest BKFC fighters ever. You know what I mean? And what made me come to Bare Knuckle is honestly, like, I love to fight, you know what I mean? And boxing was in my lane, and I was built for Bare Knuckle, BKFC.
Well, you like to fight. You're obviously not a stranger to it. You drew a pretty big crowd here. But the one thing we haven't seen you is put somebody else's name in your mouth. Is there somebody that's on your radar that you'd like to fight?
I want John Dodson.
Well, there you go. He said he wants John Dodson, and everyone's mouths dropped. They're excited to see it here in the back. I think now what we need to do is put our hands together for the man who had performance of the night, calling out John Dodson. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Andrew Strode, performance of the night here at Denver Coliseum. Then the co-main event winner, let's bring him up next. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Cameron Jumpman VanCamp for big win tonight. Congratulations to Cameron VanCamp.
Cameron, that first round, it seemed like you didn't have a lot of activity. Was that you just kind of gauging like distance or in speed? Because it seemed like you kind of coasted that first round.
I didn't coast. I couldn't enter. I was fighting him orthodox. He's a southpaw. He's probably used to fighting other people orthodox. He kept touching my lead hand. So second round, I came out southpaw, and after that, I figured him out.
At what point in the fight did you think, like you just said, you figured it out? Like at what point did you start getting confident? Because that fourth and fifth round, and even a little bit in the third round, you started to really pull ahead.
Yeah, definitely. The second round, when I switched southpaw, I started finding my jab, and I knew I was frustrating him. I cut him a couple times right away. He still hit me with some big things later, but yeah, once I switched to southpaw, I cut his face all up, and I knew it was going to be a wrap.
You seem to be counterpunching, especially with short hooks. Did you think you were going to knock him out at any point in that fourth round? It looked close.
Yeah, I mean, I hit him a couple times with the hook. As I was fading out, I saw his whole head and chin turn, and I was like, man, but that dude's tough, and he was stubborn. He didn't want to go down.
So, Cameron, you started, obviously, your career at Bare Knuckle with a loss. Now you're 2 wins in a row, 2 very, very good wins. Where do you see your next fight? Like, where do you see yourself?
Hey, I just want to keep fighting the biggest fights I can, whatever they want to give to me. I've never turned down a fight. I never will turn down a fight. I want to keep fighting in stadiums. I want to get paid.
There he is, winner of the co-main event, Cameron Jumpman VanCamp. Congratulations to him, big win. And next up, before we get to the main event, I want to bring up one of the brightest young stars in BKFC, Dylan Schulte. Let's bring him up. Dylan the Villain, great nickname too. What a fight, Dylan, wow.
So, Dylan, in your first fight for BKFC, you seemed very technical on a counter-punching, going in and out. On this fight, you were flat-footed, giving one to take one. Mm-hmm. Was that your intention?
I don't think that was my intention. You know, a little bit of weight cut. I got to figure that out still. I planned on coming in and moving my feet and throwing with speed and not so much power, but man, chaos in that bare knuckle ring, and I did what I had to get the win.
At any point in that fight, when you guys were trading back and forth, it seemed like you kind of got a little wobbly-legged. Were you kind of seeing clouds?
I don't feel like I was seeing clouds. I feel like it was more of like adrenaline and chaos, kind of like. I don't feel like I got rocked in that fight. I know I got punched a couple times, but I never felt like I was losing my motor skills. I felt a little bit winded after a couple of the sprinting exchanges, but in between rounds, man, I felt fresh going out into the second round. I didn't feel hurt.
Well, we've seen two different fighters out of you. Was this one? I know your teammate fought right before you. Mm-hmm. Did that affect your performance at all?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. She whooped ass. I felt like that helped my performance. That helped my mindset going in, and that's that.
You've got a really experienced coach, Steve Paprocki. He's obviously got a lot of experience on the bigger shows.
Yep.
What kind of an influence was he on this camp?
Massive, especially in between rounds. He composed me. He reminded me that I'm better than this guy, and I need to fight like it. So, massive shout out to Steven for getting me back to who I am in between rounds.
All right, here's the question that everybody wants to know. What's next for you, Dylan?
Man, I want that belt. I want Bloss. And if I don't get Bloss, I want Richardson. If I don't get Richardson, then I want Reber. I want whoever's going to get me that title shot.
Dylan Schulte, obviously ready to go, part of the youth movement here in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Rising star. Thanks for stopping by, Dylan.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Give it up for Dylan Schulte. Next up, a guy who had a first-round knockout. Let's bring up Nash Dix. Another young star. Nash, thank you so much for coming by. We have a bunch of questions, I think. We want to start with a question.
Leading into this fight, how would you describe your fight camp?
Perfect, man. Everything went right. I did all the sacrifices I needed to. My last fight, I only had 11 days to prepare, so I knew this time I was ready.
So with 11 days to prepare as compared to this experience, much different?
Much different, man. Much different. The mental, everything.
You're obviously you got 2 fights in BKFC. Are you here to stay? Like, what's your career thoughts up until this point?
I only want to fight for BKFC. I'm here to stay.
We can't wait to see what you do next. An excellent performance tonight. What do you see next for yourself? You're here to stay. Well, what are you going to do when you're staying here?
Honestly, I think I'll probably fight out 145 next, and I would love to get on that Philadelphia card.
I can't wait for the Philadelphia card myself. Ladies and gentlemen, first round knockout. Get up for Nash Dix. Next up, I want to bring up the man who won the main event. He is your new BKFC Cruiserweight Champion of the World. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris Camozzi, the champ. It's a heavy belt.
A little loud.
So Chris, you've obviously 20-fight UFC veteran. Arguably, you're a 50-fight club member across all combat sports. Where does this rank in your competitive history?
Oh man, absolutely number one. This is the best night of my combat sports career. And I told everybody beforehand, this was win or go home for me. I've been at it 20 years. 20 years I've been fighting. Some of these young killers here aren't even that old, I don't think, so it makes me feel old as hell.
Chris, you also had knockout of the night, and what a knockout it was. That's got to be one of the top knockouts of the year here in BKFC. What does that feel like? Most normal people don't get to feel that, and especially as you're winning a world championship. Can you describe how you felt?
I mean, physically, I could say it feels like your hand goes straight through. But no, I mean, I couldn't have planned this any better, being in my hometown, in front of all my friends and family. I had so many people fly in. Yeah, man, I can't even express it. This means the world to me.
You also had a UFC legend, Chuck Liddell, in your corner. Would you mind kind of letting everybody know where that relationship started?
Yeah, we got in a fight at a bar once and then became friends. And no. Chuck was a coach on The Ultimate Fighter when I was a contestant. So that was season 11 back in 2010. And then I got to know him there. I started going to San Luis Obispo and training with John Hackelman. And coming full circle, Chuck's got King of Violence, his clothing line. So they sponsored me on this fight, and he was asking if he could corner because he hasn't been to a BKFC fight. He was shadowboxing in the locker room, everything. He was getting it.
So, Chris, obviously long, illustrious career. You talk about the young cats coming up, don't know anything about the road that you've traveled. Is there a next for you, or is this just a cherry on the topic?
No, I'm sticking around. I said it's win or be done. I just won the belt. I got to stick around for those paydays especially, but there's still more to be done. I felt great in there. This camp had a lot of hardships, actually. I was working full time. I do commercial real estate. I closed 2 deals this week in between media and stuff. So there's still stuff left on the table, whether it's fighting and my regular career, so I'm still here.
So it was your night, like you said, in your hometown. You won a world championship in front of friends, family, and fans in your hometown. I'm not going to ask any question. I just want you, for a moment, to talk about what's on your heart right now. What were you feeling when you walked back in the locker room, after you got changed, when you looked at the shiny title over your shoulder? That'd be a great feeling.
It was amazing. I knew as soon as I hit him that he wasn't getting back up, because I hit him with everything, and it went straight through. And at that moment, man, I just felt like all the weight was lifted off my shoulders. It was a giant exhale. All these guys tonight know that feeling when it's over and you get out safe and you get the win. There's nothing that compares to it. That's what's kept me around so long. That's why I'm such an adrenaline junkie and I like this sport, because nothing in the world compares to winning a fight.
Well, we're excited to see what you do next. We're honored to have you as the BKFC Cruiserweight Champion. Thank you for an amazing knockout of the night. New champion, Chris Camozzi. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your hometown boy,
Thank you.
Chris Camozzi, world champion. All right, I guess I'll use... I think we have one more. Come on up here. I'm getting informed. Hassad's coming up. Come on up. I'm so happy you could make it. This guy. It's great to talk to him. Give it up. Come on. Let me run the mic back here.
How's everybody doing?
So, Hassan, you're all the way from Canada. We found you on our Canada, I think our prospect show, actually. Now you're fighting in the United States, a much bigger audience and a bigger venue. What has been the leap for you been like since entering the sport?
Training camp was good. Everything's been good. Mentally, everything's been good. The only thing I was worried about was the altitude here in Denver compared to Edmonton. And I went 5 rounds, so that checks that box off, right? I shouldn't have to be worried about that.
So training, obviously, Canada has had a couple of BKFC events. Where would you put your training at as compared to maybe some of the tweaks that you might apply in the future?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Your training is the sport's very brand new in the United States, even newer in Canada. Is there any tweaks you do, anything different you do in training?
Absolutely not. We have amazing coaches at our gym. My coach here, Perez Al-Ghanim. We have Ryan Ford. They've been doing combat sports all their lives. Right, they know what adjustments need to be made, and that's the adjustments we did make coming into this.
Your intensity is kind of like nobody else that we've seen, at least on this card. Does that switch ever get turned off?
It does. Mr. Social over here knows. I like to joke around when it's time to joke around, but when it's time to fight, it's straight intensity.
Yeah, I do know, and I never step in front of you when you're getting ready, only afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Hassan. An amazing performance tonight. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for a great fight, as always. You're the man tonight, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, live from Denver Coliseum. Denver Coliseum, that does it. That wraps up the press conference. Another great night of fights. We're going to see you next time live in Montana, from Billings, Montana. Looking forward to that fight. And we have some UK shows coming up. It's all here for you, bkfc.com. We'll see you next time.